Alrighty.
Stand on the scale with both feet.
Good morning. Today is Tuesday, April 6th, 2021, and this is the regular scheduled meeting of the Kings County Board of Supervisors. Due to issues arising from COVID-19, the board is using a teleconferencing format for today's meeting. We are all participating via the World Wide Web. If you'd like to make a public comment today, please make sure you are identified by name in the WebEx system. For those interested in commenting during the unscheduled appearances, please use the raise your hand feature and wait to be recognized. Each speaker will be allowed up to 2 minutes for public comment. Each vote will be a verbal or voice vote so that members of the public can hear how each board member has voted. After we have had a motion and a second regarding each item we are taking up today, we will be doing a roll call vote by district. Madam Clerk, would you please call a roll?
Joe Nevs,
Here.
Richard Valley,
Here.
Doug Verboon,
Present.
Craig Peterson,
Here.
Richard Fagundes.
Here.
Very good. We have 5 present today. We'll move to the invocation and Brian Kleinhammer from Kingdom Culture 2.0.
Good morning, everyone. Please bow your heads. Father God, we come before you today to do routine business, but there is nothing routine about what we are experiencing now. So many of us are going through different levels of suffering, different levels of challenges. And Lord, we are all burned out in one way or another. But Father God, you do not burn out and you do not stop. You do not take your hand away and you do not stop shielding us from things that we can't even see. So Father God, during these proceedings today, reassure all of us with your comforter that you have not left us and you are going to be by our side every day through this long haul. Father God, bless the proceedings and bless the wisdom and the decisions of the elected officials you have placed where they are. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please join me in the flag salute. Ready? Salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next up is unscheduled appearances. Any person may directly address the board at this time on any item on the agenda or any other items of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. 2 minutes are allowed for each item. Okay, this morning we have Sheriff Dave Robinson. Thanks. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I appreciate your time. I'll be very brief. There's a lot of bills coming through the legislature this year, and there's one in particular that draws a lot of the sheriff's great concern, and that's SB 271. I would like to ask your board to consider a letter of opposition on SB 271. That bill introduced by Senator Wiener would repeal Government Code Section 24004.3, which are the law enforcement requirements to run for the office of sheriff. In essence, it would take away any requirement to run for the office of sheriff, and so any registered voter could run for this office. And as you know, this office sees a lot of litigation because of the things that we get involved in, and it's a really bad bill. If they wanted to add an education requirement, if they wanted to add a training experience requirement, I'd be all for it. But to take away law enforcement experience and law enforcement training and to say that anybody can run for this office is just crazy. And if you put it in the context of every other department head that you have working for you right now has the training and experience in the field that they run to be that department head. And so this bill takes away all that for just this one office. It's a direct target at sheriffs throughout the state of California. And I would appreciate your board considering a letter of opposition to SB 271. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have DA Keith Fagundes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to echo those same concerns with SB 271 as the sheriff just did. Some of the changes going through the legislature right now are almost shocking. I know there's SB 82, which is changing robbery You can't even defend your own property anymore from somebody taking it. You have to let them take it under that bill. And there are probably about half a dozen other bills that are just crazy. But of all of them, SB 271 will fundamentally change how our sheriff functions and the experience level of our sheriff. And we certainly don't want a sheriff with no practical experience in the field with patrol. And really, frankly, our best sheriffs have been from the ground up. And I would also ask that this board step out and protect the county a little bit better. And and that would be done by doing this. So not that you haven't done it already, but 271 really needs to have some opposition to it. And I think this board can do that. So I concur with the sheriff.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Public comment, Rebecca Campbell, County Administrative Officer, 2 items. I request that we pull consent item C2 on today's agenda. And also, with a heavy heart, I want to recognize Mr. Gary Olson. He is an electrical engineer for electrical power systems. He has worked with the county for years. We have relied on him for his consultant services. I have worked on many projects with Mr. Olson, and he's so knowledgeable about our county network. I just want to recognize and thank him in his memory.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. No written comments for the record. Okay. Thank you. Right. We'll move to item 3, which is approval of the minutes for March 30th, 2021.
No questions, comments, Mr. Chair. Move the approval of the minutes as presented. Nevs? Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the approval of minutes for March 30th, 2021. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Abstain.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. This time we'll move to item 4, which is a consent calendar, and as outlined by the administrative officer, item C2 has been pulled.
I make the motion to approve the consent calendar as amended. Verboen? Nevs, seconds.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon, Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. We will now move to item 5, which is the regular agenda items. First up is the Agriculture Department and Jimmy Hook.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Jimmy Hood, Ag Commissioner Seaver.
Morning.
Kings County. I just want to be brief on this. If you guys have any questions, I'll touch on them. So in February, there were a few issues brought up to the board, to the board's attention in response to the new ordinance and some of the requirements for it. Because of this, we convened a working group, went over some of these issues, discussed them. After hearing those discussions, the decision was made to adjust the fee schedule. This is in an effort to make it a little more accommodating to some of the larger acreages we might see. This also included a caveat that working with county council, we would draft a personal guarantee for some landowners. That was one of the bigger issues, is the landowner felt that they shouldn't have to have any financial guarantee. That was really the only changes that we're going to propose to the ordinance. I think that covers, in talking with the growers, the concerns that they had for this year, and hopefully going forward, we might be able to make some additional changes as needed. I'm available for any questions if you guys have any on those issues.
Very good, Mr. Thank you. I see Madam Clerk has a comment.
Council, County Council Lee Burdick, thank you. I just wanted to clarify something that our Ag Commissioner Sealer, Mr. Hook, just said. With respect to the personal guarantee, that does not require an ordinance change. The ordinance provides that financial security will be advanced at the time of the application and permit issuance for crop destruction fees, and that whatever that financial security is must be to the satisfaction of the Ag Commissioner. based on discussions with the growers and their concerns about the ordinance as phrased, the Ag Commissioner has agreed that he will accept as adequate financial security a personal guarantee, which we are working with him to draft. So I just wanted to be clear that no ordinance change needs to be made in order to affect that. And that what is currently before you is a revision to the fee schedule, which also does not require an ordinance change.
Thank you for the updates. Discussion by the board.
Move as amended or presented.
Nevs will second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. Thank you. Move to item 5B, which is information technology. John Devlin.
Good morning, Chairman Peterson and your fellow board members. My name is John Devlin. I'm the Chief Information Officer for Kings County. Before you, we have a renewal agreement with McAfee Corporation. The IT department is requesting to purchase an enhanced endpoint security product, which McAfee Enterprise Security Suite for the county's network. The McAfee Security Suite will cost $119,000 for a 3-year term. It is budgeted within the IT's adopted budget for this current fiscal year 2020-2021 in account number 195-000-92058. In the past, the McAfee Security Suite was $152,330 for the 3-year term that started in March 2018. Now McAfee costs $119,041 for a 3-year term, represents a 28% savings. County has utilized the security suite from McAfee for the last 6 years. It has served the county well, but we investigated newer, less expensive alternatives. IT is always looking for ways to save the county money and maintain or improve the service to county customers. IT examined several products from vendors, and a new cloud-enhanced version of McAfee has the best set of features and also utilizes artificial intelligence to thwart hackers and nation states that wish to do the county harm. The McAfee Suite product will protect desktops, laptops, and servers. In this case, IT is saving money and improving the county's security posture from intrusions and threats. The agreement between McAfee and Kings County has been reviewed and approved by County Council as to form. And I'd like to thank Cindy Cleaver for all her work on this agreement. So the recommendation is to approve the renewal agreement with McAfee Corporation for the county's information technology network system retroactively effective March 3rd of this year to March 23rd of 2024. I'm open for any questions.
Thank you for that. Questions from the board? If not, entertain motions.
Move as presented. Verboen.
Nevs seconds.
Very good. Do we have a motion and a second? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Good. We have 5 in favor. So we will move to item C, which is Public Works, and Dominic Taberski.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dominic Tyberski, Public Works. I am before you this morning to request approval of change order number 3 for the fiscal year 1920 SB1 roadway improvement project, which is currently in progress by Granite Construction Company Incorporated. The original contract amount was just under $2.9 million. And this was to improve 17 miles of roadway in rural Kings County and the unincorporated community of Stratford. Change order number 1 included paving of an additional mile of Grangeville, taking improvements to the Tulare County line, and the replacement of 6 curb ramps in Stratford to meet current ADA standards. Change order number 2 was to revise quantities, originally estimated in change order number 1. This third change order is to add an additional quarter mile of paving along Laurel Avenue and Empire Street in Stratford. And this third change order, when combined with change orders 1 and 2, exceeds the 10%, which I am authorized to approve, which brings me before your board today. Total cost, if this request were to be approved, is just over $3.2 million, and this is entirely funded by SB1 revenues. Construction is anticipated to be completed by the end of April, and at this point, be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Got to be a question on a change order.
Not when they go on this side. Only change orders, yeah, when you don't get more service than, you end up with less service and more money. This one you get, more service, and I think it's very well done. So with that, Mr. Chair, if there are no questions or comments, move as presented. Nevs.
Got a motion by Neb, second by Fagundes. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
5 in favor. Thank you. On to item D, which is administration. Ms. Campbell.
There's actually one more item.
I think he actually has one more item.
All right, rock and roll.
Sorry about that.
Item 2. Got it.
So I'm before you this morning additionally to request implementation of parking restrictions on Canton Street west of 14th Avenue in Armona. I was recently contacted by Fire Battalion Chief Rick Levy regarding the possibility of creating a no parking zone on this segment of Canton Street due to the inability to navigate fire apparatus through this roadway to service the residents on Lotus Lane. There is a single residential driveway on this segment of Canton Street intersecting the south side of the roadway, and this, of course, would be excluded from the no parking zone. At this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Very good. And that also services the pizza place there as well on the backside, right?
Yes, that's correct. There is direct access on the front from 14th, but to get to the backside, you are correct. They would need to navigate through Canton Street.
Very good. No questions or comments. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
So we have a motion and second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. Now on to item D, administration. Campbell. Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the board. This first item is related to Senate Bill 467. Senate Bill 467 was introduced by Senators Wiener and Limon in February of this year. Essentially, what the bill would do is on or after January 1 of 2023, the bill would prohibit the issuance of a new or modified permit related to oil and gas wells or production facilities within a health protection zone, except for certain activities. If the bill is adopted, the bill would have the effect of banning roughly 95% of all oil and gas production in the state. Knowing that Central Valley is a large industry of oil and gas producers for the state, this bill would have devastating effects to our economy. 75% of oil and gas production comes from Kern County, which is one of our neighboring counties. This would result in the rapid phase out of virtually all crude oil production in California by the year 2027. And it would affect 30,000 jobs and $1.5 billion in state and local revenues. It would create a complete dependency on overseas production of gas and diesel. On February 11th, I wanted to point out that your board adopted a resolution in support of efforts to protect the local oil and gas industry in the Central Valley. I did provide your board a copy of the legislative SB 467 this morning, and I did make available a copy to the clerk of the board as well. I do have Ms. Bryn Fornham. She is a representative for the Central Valley Coalition for Energy and Jobs on the line. And what we are asking your board today is to authorize the Central Valley Coalition for Energy and Jobs to list Kings County, along with other Valley counties and organizations and locally elected officials, on a letter that conveys opposition to this bill. And with that, if I could answer any questions, or if you have any questions for Ms. Fornham, she is on the line.
Very good. Questions, comments from the board? Ms. Forner, you want to make any comments or are you good?
I just wanted to say that, I appreciate the opportunity that you all are giving consideration to this particular issue. As Ms. Campbell had stated, last year you all had supported a resolution in support of the industry, but this year, this piece of legislation is about devastating the oil and gas industry. And as you well know, Kern County will be decimated, but I think you all have worked very well with your other Valley counties, and you would be following Fresno County. 2 weeks ago today, they opposed unanimously to then provide, opposition to SB 467. But other Valley counties will be following, but you would be the second county falling in line for that purpose in conveying just the fact that this is not a Kern County issue, this is a Valley issue. And we have to stand together to be able to make that known to the legislators and certainly to the governor as well. But we thank you for your consideration of this issue today.
Thank you for the comments. Is there any further public comment? Very good.
I'll make a motion to close Senate Bill 467 for them.
Second.
Okay. We have multiple seconds, so Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley, Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. On to item 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item, I wanted to let your board know that the California Special Districts Association, or CSDA, reached out to the county this past month and notified the county that in February of 2021, the agency did a survey of districts. Special districts found that only 11% of districts across the state have received any form of relief, despite the $1.92 trillion in COVID relief that was adopted, and 42% reducing services to communities. 47% of those that are reducing services are in disadvantaged communities, and 1 in 3 reducing their workforce. The state's districts anticipate a $2.43 billion impact by the year's end due to COVID-19 impacts. The association is requesting that the governor set aside 5% of the state's government's $26.6 billion share of the American Rescue Plan Act funds. And so they are reaching out to ask us to support their association's request. Should the state and the association not be successful in negotiating that 5%, the special districts most likely will come back to the counties to request funding to support their losses. Attached are 2 letters that the association received as part of the federal advocacy. And these are local letters, one from Self-Help and one from the Armona Community Services District. And we did find out that our local districts are in arrears and they have received losses in revenues related to the pandemic. For Armona, at this point, they have a $47,000 loss. Home Garden, CSD, reported revenue losses approximately at $61,000, and Kettleman City is at $99,000 at this point, and it's still building up. I wanted to let your board know that Mr. Cole Carr is on the line. He is the California Special Districts Association Regional Public Affairs Coordinator for the Central Valley. Also, Ms. Rosa Maldonado was possibly going to join us. She represents Kettleman City Community Services District. So what we are asking your board today is that you authorize the California Special Districts Association to use the county's logo on a coalition letter that supports COVID-19 relief for the CSDA and the special districts across the state.
Thank you for that. Questions of the board? Mr. Carr, would you like to comment?
No, Rebecca pretty much covered it pretty well. I do appreciate the consideration and in support of the special districts that provide some critical and essential services to your constituents and the communities. And of course, the county has been no exception to some of the pretty heavy impacts of COVID-19 on these critical service providers. And still trying to get some resources for them. So we would appreciate CSDA and the districts in Kings County would absolutely appreciate the Kings County Board of Supervisors authorizing Kings County to join this coalition letter and send that message of support to Governor Newsom as well as legislative leaders in Sacramento. We appreciate that and ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment?
No one with their hand raised.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
So move, Mr. Chair. Nevs.
Second. We have a motion by Neves, second by Fagundes. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Okay, 5 in favor. On to item 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This week, administration received a request from Assemblyman Jim Patterson's office. The Assemblyman is requesting federal funding to support State Route Excelsior Safety Corridor project. This is a 6-mile stretch that is along the Highway 41. And it would turn that 2-lane into a 4-lane project. And so the Assemblyman Patterson is seeking federal funding through Congressman Valadao and Congressman Costa's office. So they did reach out to see if your board would support those projects and their ask.
Okay, very good. Questions?
Comment?
Mr. Chairman?
And I'll second, and with that, this is also supported by our Association of Governments with the Transportation Policy Holders and our Central Committee, not our Policy Committee. So we all support this. So we're all getting on the same ship here and see that it's done. This is a very dangerous part of the road. It's been dangerous for years. As our traffic flow increases, there's been multiple deaths over the last year. I don't know what's happened with people, but they all think they got a path in this 6-mile stretch. So nobody has patience. So with that, I second the motion. And I think you have a question.
Yep. So we do have a motion and second. Supervisor Riley.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to clarify with this one coming from the office of Assemblyman Patterson, is this still technically viewed as competitive to the projects that the board prioritized last week, that we're competing against ourselves on this one, or is this one outside the area?
The Assemblyman's office did not clarify whether they were seeking earmark funding. However, we wanted to make sure that we covered our priorities, that our number 1 priority was the pedestrian bridge. Number 2 was the Emergency Operations Center. Number 3 was the Highway 5 Jackson Ranch Development Project. And number 4 was the Sheriff Deputy Body Cameras. So we did outline those 4 projects in the letter to ensure that those would be called out, that they are our priorities. And then we did state that we were in support of their request as well. If they are seeking earmark funding, this would not compete with Congressman Costa's office, but it could technically compete with Congressman Valadao's priorities.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Chairman, these are all good projects, obviously, and very much needed. At some point, though, I think the board, we need to, with all the time and effort that everyone put in for the last 2 weeks to get to the priorities as outlined as last week, we need to, at some point, we need to focus on what we really want to get done in Kings County. That being said, I haven't seen a letter yet that specifically is dedicated to the Kings County priorities. If that was out, I didn't receive it electronically. So can I ask if that letter went out? And if so, can I get a copy of that? I've only seen the letters that outline such as this, the opener in support of somebody else's project.
Supervisor Valley, we don't have that letter yet, but I will follow up on it and get back to you.
Okay, can I ask why though? Because this is the whole point here. Why wouldn't we put ourselves first? It's been a week.
Supervisor Valley, if I can address your board. This is Carrie Martinez, Assistant County Administrative Officer. So Paragon actually is drafting the letter. The letter was, Congressman Valadil's office had an internal deadline of last week. And because of that internal deadline, they still allowed some more time they gave themselves a little bit more time to draft that board letter. So they're working on it now and they should have it by the end of today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all that I have.
Yep, thank you. Okay, we do have a motion second. Is there further discussion or further public comment? Okay, this time, Chair would entertain a motion, or we do have a motion. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Okay, we have 5 in favor. We'll now move to item 4.
Okay, item 4. Item 4 is related to a vacancy in one of our executive positions for the fire chief position. This position has been vacant and Mr. William Lynch has come back in an extra help capacity to help the county serve in that role. This request would be to fill the vacant fire chief position on a permanent basis and would confirm the appointment of Mr. William Lynch to the position of fire chief effective June 14th on 2021. It is recommended to start at $13,289 per month, and that would include management benefits at that level. It is requested to take action to appoint Mr. Lynch to the vacant fire chief position. Mr. Lynch has served in that role before for the county and has been serving that role in an extra help capacity to help the county since the fall. Mr. Lynch would come back at his same vacation leave accrual rate, and that rate would be set for when he retired previously. He has contacted CalPERS and has set it up where he would actually come out of retirement and serve the county. So with that, if there are any questions, I would ask that your board appoint Mr. Lynch to the position of fire chief.
Very good. Questions, comments? None, any
Quick
public comment?
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Is Mr. Lynch available?
Yes, Supervisor Valley, I'm here.
Okay, through the chair. Good morning, Mr. Lynch.
Good morning.
Look forward to you serving and thank you for coming out of retirement.
Thank
And
you.
I know you're probably going to do this anyways, but I just wanted to ask publicly, or at least express one of my wishes. Mr. Lynch, at the end of your time here, do you feel that you could leave the county with a couple of those hardworking firefighters with the ability and the experience ready for someone within to take charge if the board appointed them, meaning having that talent? We know the talent's there. We know the passion's there. But would that be one of your priorities to groom one of those hardworking firefighters for the position of chief?
Supervisor Valley, I'm glad you brought that question up, because that is exactly why I am reinstating to get an internal candidate prepared and ready to go. And that is going to be my focus over my time here, to get them prepared. And succession means a lot. We need to get busy on that within this agency, and that is my goal, to actually get somebody internal that can compete for the position. At least several. I mean, I share a lot of information with all the chiefs, but trying to prepare people to get to the next step is what I'm going to do over this period that I'm here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lynch. You expressed it better than I did, but that's exactly what I was looking for you. And God bless you for coming out of retirement. I know that can't be easy as well, but we're grateful to have your experience and your leadership here to get us through the next year. Thank you, Mr. Lynch.
Thank you, Supervisor Valley. It's an honor.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Chief Lynch. So back to the board for direction.
No more question or comments. I'll move approval as presented. And I want to thank Chief Lynch for taking time out of his career or life and come back and helping us out. So thank you.
So very good. We have motion and second, motion by Verboen, second by Fagundes. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboen,
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Aye.
Richard Fagundes.
Yes.
Yeah, 5 in favor. Welcome back. All right, on to item E, which is administration, and Ms. Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a weekly item to your board on the COVID-19 pandemic. I will go over actions at the state, federal level, and local level for the past week, and then I will turn it over to Director of Public Health, Mr. Edward Hill, for a local public health update. Last week, it was announced that individuals age 50 and over, starting on April 1, will be eligible to make an appointment. And individuals 16 and over will be eligible to make an appointment to be vaccinated starting on April 15th. So to sign up for a notification, if you're eligible for the vaccine, please visit myturn.ca.gov. The Governor Newsom launched the Safe Schools for All Hub as a one-stop shop for information about safe in-person instruction. The state has updated its schools reopening maps to include outbreak data by school district. As of April 3rd, local health departments have reported 103,301 confirmed positive cases in healthcare workers and 444 deaths statewide. As of March 29th, there have been 443 cases of multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children. That is the MIS-C reported statewide. It is a rare inflammatory condition associated with COVID-19 that can damage multiple organ systems. The state expects to be allocated 2.4 million doses this week, an increase of 300,000 over last week, and more than 3 million doses per week in the second half of April. The California Department of Public Health released updates on April 2nd to the state's Blueprint for a Safer Economy reopening framework, allowing additional activities to resume with modifications to reduce risk. The updates include gatherings, private events, or meetings such as receptions or conferences, and indoor seated live events and performance. These updates take effect April 15th. California's framework for loosening and tightening restrictions is governed by the level of COVID-19 spread. There are no federal updates. On the local front, the county is working to update its protocols, employee protocols related to a new bill that was adopted, Senate Bill 95, the paid emergency sick leave. Also, I wanted to let your board know that due to COVID-19, there is no planning for an employee barbecue this year.
Barbecue?
Unless your board directs otherwise. And
Mr.
with
Chairman,
that, I'd like,
sorry. Mr. Chairman, I was, we're going to ask Ed about this, but I thought yesterday on the call, we were told that receptions or gatherings are now eligible, and that even in the red tier, I believe he said if you show proof of vaccine, you can have up to 200 people. So we might have room moving forward here at that time to do something, even if they're satellite feeds.
Thank you. I think there's some other information that may be forthcoming about, further possibilities of opening the economy and things of that nature as well that go far beyond what we may be discussing today, but that hasn't been announced yet. So if you would continue.
thank you, Mr. Chair. So those are the updates that I have. I would like to turn it over to Mr. Hill for a local public health update.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ed Hill, Public Health. I'm going to start my presentation, as I always do, by reminding everybody the simple steps we can all take to stop the spread of communicable diseases such as COVID-19, and those are wash your hands frequently for 20 seconds or more, Don't touch your face with unwashed hands. Stay hydrated with water. A hydrated cell is a healthy cell. Stay home if you're sick and wear cloth face coverings to protect yourself and loved ones. Our current numbers for today, we've collected 203,695,000 samples. We currently have 168 results pending, currently monitoring 4,673 individuals. Our current total cases since the outbreak began is at 15,463, unfortunately with 224 deaths. Our total recovered is at 10,567. I also want to point out to your board that we will be likely changing the way we word this and changing this from total recovered to closed cases. As we know, the disease in severe cases or severe situations do leave lasting effects for individuals, so we want to make sure that we align our definitions with the state. And to that fact, we'll also be changing active cases to actually open cases instead of active cases. And then as we start to move through this process and our workload decreases, you'll start to see those case numbers begin to change as we work on backlog and other work processes. The skilled nursing facilities have not changed at all. Their total since the outbreak began is 311 cases with 269 recovered and unfortunately 42 deaths. The state prison outbreaks have stabilized. I'm happy to announce they've only had one case since we presented last week, bringing their total cases since the outbreak began at 7,662. They've collected 121,726 samples. They're currently waiting on 141 pending results. Their active cases now is at 0, bringing their recovered or closed cases to 645, and unfortunately 17 deaths. We continue to watch hospital data closely, and we continue to see a decrease in both med-surg and ICU admissions, both locally and throughout the region. As of yesterday, the local hospital reported that they had 6 med-surg or general admission cases and no ICU patients at this time. We continue to maintain that 60-day supply of PPE for all of our healthcare facilities. And we also were notified yesterday that the Fresno alternate care site is going to completely demobilize starting tomorrow, Wednesday, April 7th, and will no longer be in what's known as warm status. They are actually removing all of the gear and equipment out of that facility starting today and tomorrow. Our mobile testing program site schedule is on our website. I'm still waiting on word for the expansion through the testing task force in the Valencia branch lab, the expansion of testing with municipalities. And then also as part of our epidemiological lab capacity program, our education team spent some time in Home Garden last week to spread information about testing as well as sign people up to get vaccinated. You're going to continue to see us build this team and their outreach as our ELC capacity expands with current programs that are being sent through by the state. Our current metrics for the blueprint are our new cases are at 6 per 100,000. That's our adjusted rate. Our unadjusted rate is at 7, and we continue to see declining cases. Our overall testing positivity is at 2.4%, and our testing positivity in the lowest quartile of the Healthy Places Index is down to 1.4%. So this means now that all of our criteria meet orange tier criteria, and if we're able to maintain these numbers, there's a chance we may be able to move to the orange tier as soon as next week. However, we're going to be watching these numbers closely as we will likely see some effects from spring break and obviously Easter that just happened this last weekend. And just a reminder, we see those results 1 to 2 weeks after the events occur. Our tests per 100,000 is currently maintained again, and the numbers back up at 437.7 average tests per day. And then the state will be hitting the 4 million dose administered mark for persons living in the vaccine equity quartile. And because of this, once they meet that number, the tier criteria for the new cases per 100,000 will change. It will change. It'll actually increase, which it's kind of confusing. But as that number increases, it makes it easier for us to move through the tier assignments. Once they reach that mark, the change from going from purple to red tier will increase from 4 to 6. The change to move to the orange tier will go from 1 to 2, and then the change to move to the yellow tier, it will increase from 1 to less than 2. So that is good news once we hit that vaccination mark, hopefully soon. They anticipate that being reached by today. As mentioned by Ms. Campbell, with the testing positivity at a record low and the hospital admissions down, the state is starting to lessen some of the restrictions. One of the restrictions is the gatherings. In the red tier, outdoor gatherings can have up to 25 people are allowed. The gathering size increases to 50 people in the orange tier and 100 people in the yellow tier. In the purple tier, only outdoor gatherings are strongly suggested. Private events or meetings such as receptions or conferences beginning April 15th. In the red tier, outdoor gatherings are limited to 50 people. Capacity increases to 200 if all the guests can show proof of negative test or full vaccination. Also in the orange tier, I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. Hopefully we'll be able to reach the orange tier soon. That number will change to 100 people and capacity increases to 300 if all guests are tested, show proof of negative tests, and full vaccination. They're also expanding and allowing indoor and live events and performances beginning April 15th. The venues with a capacity of up to 1,500 people in the red tier is limited to 10% or 100 people, and capacity increases to 25% of the venue's capacity if all guests are tested and can show proof of full vaccination. The orange tier is capacity limit is 15% or 200, and then the capacity increases to 35% of the capacity of the venue for all guests that show proof of negative test, and full vaccination. And then, of course, the values change for larger venues. On the vaccine front, as mentioned by Ms. Campbell, last Thursday, April 1st, vaccine eligibility was expanded to those 50 and older. And on Thursday, April 15th, that eligibility will expand even greater to 16 and over, essentially making everybody eligible with the exception of those under 16 for the vaccine. Last week, between Public Health and OptumServe, we were able to administer 2,327 vaccine. That number is lower than normal, and I'll explain why a little bit later on. We do have plenty of appointments available in all of our clinics, and as a reminder, just Public Health alone has the ability to provide 700 doses a day between our 4 clinics. The anticipated increase in vaccine demand as a result of the change in April 1st didn't occur as we were anticipating, and so as a result of that, we're asking the state to allow us to move to the 16 and older expanded capability now. There's supposed to be a process in place where the state will authorize or approve this change within 48 hours. Today or this morning marks 24 hours, but we're still waiting on word on if we're able to make that change. Once we do, we'll of course send out a press release as well as notify your board and the community. We're also working with local CBOs and faith-based organizations to provide training on how easy it is to register their clients or attendees to facilitate vaccine distribution. We have several folks here that are active in their faith-based organizations. They've taken upon themselves to work with their attendees and start registering them. We found that that does increase our numbers a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and share that wealth of knowledge. This isn't anything special or outside of what's available. It's just to walk them through the process of helping folks register using the public-facing MyTurn site. So far, as of today, 41,415 Kings County residents have been vaccinated. The changes to MyTurn that will happening pretty soon, the biggest one of most consequence for us is they will be implementing the ability to stand up a system known as geofencing. This allows counties to identify specific zip codes to hold clinics. For those folks, of course, this is going to be important when we need to meet our vaccine equity metrics that the state established. This feature is supposed to go live April 14th or possibly sooner. In addition to that, they're also expanding some of the administrative features that will make it easier on the locals, such as batch uploads for vaccine visibility, streamlining the creation of closed or coded clinics, as well as giving us the ability to batch upload walk-in appointments. Finally, the transition to the third-party administrator took place last week, and we continue to work through issues with MyTurn, which is the state's vaccine management system, as mentioned. The latest issues we've been encountering is it takes them 3 days to get us codes for or to hold what's known as closed pods so we can focus on certain industries or sectors. They also, for some reason, recently reset our clinic manager's login information, which essentially locked us out of the system for a day or two while they figured out what happened there. And then in addition to that, as we switch to this model, as mentioned in the past, public health is just going to be a vaccine provider, much as many of the other providers. They do promise public health will have visibility to this area or county level data for all of our vaccine providers. But until that happens, and as they work through the system, we actually are losing some visibility, and that's why our numbers are lower for vaccines, because we lost visibility into the vaccines that are being provided by OptumServe. But once they finish the My Turn updates and changes, we being public health are supposed to be able to see all vaccine data for the entire county. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions?
Question, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hill, for that. I mean, for over 41,000 people vaccinated in Kings County. Just good job to you and your staff, hardworking staff, for getting there. That's amazing, and looking forward to seeing that number grow. All that's very positive, and we want to stay positive, obviously. But Mr. Hill, do you have anything for the residents and the leadership of Kings County in terms of vigilance, staying vigilant? You know, what do we still need to be on guard against? Just anything in them terms, if any.
Yeah. Thank you, Supervisor Valley, for the question through the chair. Yes, as I open every meeting, as I always do, you know, those simple processes that we can take to protect ourselves from communicable diseases need to continue. We do know that as we open up, we can anticipate increase in disease transmission. I've always made that clear. The last time we moved from purple to red, I warned that cases will increase. That did occur. We are going to see some of that this time as well. So we just really strongly encourage everybody to stay vigilant and continue to practice those physical distancing. Don't get in a rush to rush back to normal because we're worried that the disease transmission will continue to increase. We also have the emergence of the variants, which right now there's no data that shows that the vaccines are any less effective with those, but also we know that they are a little bit more easily transmitted than the current or the original strain of the COVID-19 or not the vaccine, of the virus. So we just strongly urge people not to get in too big of a hurry to get back to normal. We've been through a long process. We're almost at the end. It'll be nice to finally move past this, but it's going to take all of us continuing those efforts.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Further questions from the board? Campbell, any further comments?
I don't have any final comments.
Okay, very good. Thank you for the update. We'll move now to board member announcements and reports. Supervisor Boone.
Thank you. Took last week off. Everybody knows me, knows I have a saying, you live every day like the first day of spring break. Knowing my life history at spring break, as a farmer, for spring break meant we worked from sun up to sundown, preparing our ground for planting season. And this is the first year I've ever left the county and did my spring break deal. And there's another world out there. And had a good time and appreciated it. And I'm back today and I'm ready to go back to work. So thank you.
Very good. Supervisor Funes.
I enjoyed my grandkids watching JJ and everything this weekend. So I guess it's happened to them. I don't want to look great, but they sure did. One way to renovate your yard. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Naps.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kings Waste and Recycling had their monthly meeting, and we accepted a very clean audit. Staff does a great job out there keeping the books. Also received an update on the tonnages as well as the operational programs, some changes coming in the future. Also attended a couple of webinars on high-speed broadband, along with the obstacles and opportunities to take advantage of, especially in rural communities. And so looking forward to see how that continues to work out. The downtown Lemoore business district had Easter open house, very well attended, a lot of people out. I think there's a lot of pent up frustration out there. A lot of kids, a lot of businesses opening up and a lot of activities. Also Hanford had their food truck event in the Civic. Again, a lot of people, music, outdoor venue, all of the COVID precautions in place. And I think it was turned out to be a very nice evening. And then sports are starting to open up, as Mr. Hill pointed out. Lemoore High has brought back softball, baseball, and football games. And with all of the COVID protocols and testing and everything, makes scheduling a little bit more difficult because a game could be canceled literally within hours before being played because of a protocol violation, but continue to work through those issues as well. And thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Valley.
Nothing at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good. I as well had a few meetings. Friday, had an opportunity to speak with David Bakke, who's the hospital council representative for Northern and Central California. Obviously is as he explained, kind of a vessel, a go-between between us and hospitals, and a great opportunity to kind of discuss some of the issues, and asked a little bit about the challenges in Kings County. And, I shared with him, obviously the big challenges that I think the hospital, or, just in general with respect to health and well-being, and the challenge that we have with mental health issues and treating mental health challenges in our community. And so it was a good meeting, and another asset for us to use when we have or need to have someone to go between us and the hospital, or just general direction in health in the county. Also, Congressman Valadao reached out, and so Tuesday afternoon we met with him and a staff member, talked a little bit about the earmarks opportunity, number of questions about funding and funding levels, and also presented him with our ranking, our timely ranking of the earmarks projects that we were interested in. And so had a good meeting with him, and again shared our priorities and a number of questions about the process, which I don't think anyone has yet, but we are still awaiting more information on that. And then last Tuesday afternoon, attended special meeting of the Armona Community Services District, and congratulations to them. They constructed a new office and meeting room, and really nice office, and a place for them to accept payment and in the community. They also discussed a water resilience project that I think they were going to present to Congressman Valadao as a earmark project as well. 4.5 million to drill another well and some line to get that water to the treatment facility plant. But with that, that's all I have at this time. And so we will move to board correspondence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In board correspondence, we have 2 items from the California Water Board: a notice of petition for temporary change involving transfer up to 15,000 acre feet from the right holders in the Sacramento Valley to the San Luis and Delta Mendota Water Authority. Also, 6,500 acre feet from Garden Highway Mutual Water Company to various state water project contractors. Another item in correspondence is from the Department of Water Resources of California, a notice of state water project contractors, their Bulletin 132-18, Management of California State Water Project, that has been published for distribution. There are no upcoming meetings or events. Upcoming agenda items for April 13th, we will have a COVID-19 update from Administration and Health Department, from Admin, Kettleman Hills Waste Facility Quarterly Report. There will be an acceptance of the Board of State and Community Corrections Coronavirus Supplemental Funding Grant in the amount of $198,070. From Behavioral Health, there will be an agreement with Kingsview for mental health services. From Community Development Agency, a monthly report on the Planning Commission's actions. From the District Attorney's Office, we will bring an item on the observance of the Crime Victims' Rights Week. from the Human Services Agency a contract with RMC Enterprises for extension windows. That is a home key item. From Public Works, a number of items. There'll be a grant purchase for new alternative fuel vehicles, a Kingsview model remodel project notice of completion, surplus vehicle equipment declaration, a zone benefit formation and parcel tax for road improvement and maintenance within zone benefit 5, an in lieu parcel map 20-03 dedication. And from the Health Department, there'll be an epidemiology and lab capacity enhancing detection expansion funding item. For tuberculosis control program, there'll be a real-time allotment funding item. From the Sheriff's Office, they will bring a Peace Officer Memorial Day item request to your board. And the following week, we'll have 2 items from the Health Department, an amended California immunization grant item, and also the Adverse Childhood Experiences Aware Subcontracts item. That's all I have for upcoming items. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. And now we'll move to item 7, which is a closed session. And we have 2 items or multiple items today. First item is to possibly initiate litigation, 2 cases, government code section 54956.9. And then we have 2 cases there. And then conference with labor negotiator, meet and confer, government code section 54957.6. And Madam Clerk, do you anticipate any reporting out? Yeah, council.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, we do not anticipate reporting out.
Thank you. All right. Very good. We'll move through there. We do have 2 later meetings this afternoon, or later at 11 o'clock. We have the California Public Finance Authority regular meeting, and also the California Community Housing Agency regular meeting at 11 o'clock as well. Those will run concurrently. And if there's no further information to come before the board, we will adjourn to the next regularly scheduled meeting, which is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021 at 9 a.m. Meeting adjourned. We're good.
Well, you probably need Catherine in there anyway.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Yeah.
Clerk of the board.
Gotta get my staff to be here. I said everybody wave.
Everybody, yeah. I know.
Huh? You can handle it. I'll just go back to doing my work.
Yeah.
Got it going.
It's on, I'm not sure.
We're good to go.
And I have it.
Now we need the chair. I think the chair went for a break. The chair.
He's old, he had to go to the bathroom again. I'll say that out loud, sorry.
Use your inside voice.
I gotta go too, but
Alrighty. It is, we've come to that time for the California Public Finance Authority. Madam Clerk, would you please call a roll?
Joe Nevs,
Here.
Richard Valley. I see he is online.
Here.
Doug Verboon,
here,
Craig Peterson,
Here.
Richard Fagundes is absent.
Very good. We have 4 in attendance today, so we'll move to item 2, which is approval of the minutes from the February 23rd, 2021 regular meeting.
so moved.
Nevs to second?
Very good. We have a motion and second. Please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. Okay, we have 4 in favor. This time we'll move to item 3, which is new business. And item A, who we have on from staff today. Is that Caitlin?
Yes, Caitlin's on. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So this first project is the Bidwell Place Apartments. The board approved this project back on February 9th, but we're bringing it back today. No changes to the actual project have been made, but some of the financing structure has changed. They have a new permanent lender. So the financing documents changed, so that's why we're bringing it back. But this project, just briefly, is a new construction project of 75 affordable units in the city of Folsom. But again, no other changes to what we brought before you in February.
Okay, very good. At this point, is there any?
Motion to approve resolution 21-06A for Bidwell Place LP.
Nevs will second?
Okay, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. Okay, we have 4 in favor, 1 absent. On to item B. Caitlin.
Yes, so this is for the Masons Palmdale Apartments. This is also for a new construction project for 118 affordable units in the city of Palmdale. This project is unique in that the site will actually be detached single-family homes. So that's kind of a new product for affordable housing, which the city is very excited about. Each unit will have 2 or 3 bedroom units. They'll each have an individual yard. The whole project is located on a 20-acre site in Palmdale. They do anticipate closing this May and start construction right away with completion by September 2022. Tupper hearings were held by the city of Palmdale on February 2nd and Kings County on January 26th. The financing initially will be, the construction financing will be in place for 30 months and then convert to permanent financing. The project has a number of public benefits. As I mentioned, 100% of the units will be income and rent restricted at 50 and 60%. The project will provide Wi-Fi or high-speed internet to each resident. There'll be a number of classes available, and they will also be focusing on energy efficiency in the building. So again, this is for the Masons Palmdale Apartments in Palmdale, California.
Thank you, Caitlin. Any questions, comments, or actions by the board?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 21-07A for Mason Palmdale LP.
Nevs will second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. Okay, we have 4 in favor, 1 absent. At this point, we'll move to item 4, which is public comment. Any person may directly address the board at this time on items on the agenda or any other items of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. 5 minutes are allowed for each item.
I do not have anyone with their hands raised.
Okay, and no written?
No.
Okay, very good. We'll move to item 5, staff updates. Caitlin, do you have any updates for us?
No updates for you today.
Okay, very good. Any other action to come for the board at this time? Seeing none, we will move to adjournment. Thank you.
We still have Coucha. One more.
I'll be right back.
Catherine, it looks like your line is muted. I just want to make sure we're still doing that.
That's correct. We're on hold for just a moment.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Go ahead here, and at this time, we'll call the meeting to order of the California Community Housing Authority. It is Tuesday, April 6th, 2021. Would you please call the roll?
Joe Nevs,
Here.
Richard Valley,
Here.
Doug Verboon has stepped out of the room.
Yes.
Craig Peterson,
Here.
Richard Fagundes is absent.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have 4 with us today. All right, we will move to item 2, which is approval of the minutes from the March 23rd, 2021 meeting. Board, what's your pleasure?
So moved.
Nevs to second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Please call roll.
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. Okay, we have 4 in favor, 1 absent. We'll now move to item 3, which is the consent calendar.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar presented.
Second. By Nevs.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Would you please call roll?
Joe Nevs,
Yes.
Richard Valley,
Aye.
Doug Verboon,
Yes.
Craig Peterson.
Aye. 4 in favor, 1 absent. At this time, we'll move to public comment. Any person may directly address the board at this time on any item on the agenda or other items of interest to the public that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. 5 minutes are allowed for each item. Do we have any public comments?
I do not have anyone with their hand raised or written comments.
Okay, very good. We'll move to item 5, which is staff updates. And Caitlin, do we have any updates today?
No updates for CalCHA today.
Right, very good. If there's no further information to come before the board, we will be adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You.